some time because I'm gonna say quite a few words this afternoon. So when I first came here in both Savoy and Belmont, it's just like coming home. Because here, when you come to this place, we've stayed here for quite some time during the pandemic. And we feel, for the Department of Tourism National Capital Region, Savoy and Belmont are home. But this isn't the goal for every hotel here in the National Capital Region, to provide their guest, a home away from their home. More than just top-notch accommodation with world-class service and amenities as our hotel first and foremost should have, these hotels have been a sanctuary, a home, and a haven for most of our overseas Filipino workers. In my years of working in the government, and most particularly lately, I remember doing ocular inspections of the various hotels in NCR. Some have seen better days, some are top-notch, some are spectacular. And now more than ever, because of our COVID pandemic, that is affecting everything and anything in our lives, we need to make sure that accommodations with internationally accepted standards can operate, so much so following the prescribed health and safety protocols. For more than 2 years into the pandemic, only accommodations with a certificate of authority to operate, I'm sure you remember this, in 2020, were allowed to open then and do business. And do you remember how stringent it was before we can accept guests because of our fear of infection? I have personally seen lives and livelihoods upended by this menace and we also have heard of countless stories of survival, of strength, of fortitude, and it has surfaced time and again. And these came as no surprise as tourism came to a standstill almost overnight, March 15, 2020. And these came as a no surprise to us. And we all know that here in the industry where every job is dedicated to tourism, and 80% of our sector is made up of micro, small, and medium enterprises. I remember vividly upon how the imprimatur of our tourism chief before, the whole NCR team had to call, as in literally call each and every hotel, for them to open up their doors to serve as temporary shelters for foreign nationals who are stranded here in the metro. Many of whom have spent more than a decade of their lives as expatriates in the Philippines. And you wouldn't believe how many of them were scattered all over the country. While some of the hotels in Metro Manila did not anticipate this exodus, a few ones were overwhelmed and they chose to close. But amidst this unprecedented crisis, we saw a hospitality industry coming together, joining hands with us in the government to respond to the needs of the time, and eventually we have emerged stronger together. From 5-star hotels giving out rock bottom rates, and I tell you this with all honesty, really rock bottom rates, to accommodate our distressed returning overseas Filipinos, to hotel properties which just opened their doors to our hotel, or health frontliners, our nurses and our doctors. Everyone seemed to have been focused on one thing: opportunity to help and not problems that they face. COVID-19 has proven to be our litmus test. It tested our mettle as individuals, our agility as a tourism industry, our resolve as a sustainable sector, and our empathy as members of the society, and our resiliency as a country. So looking back, I like to look back because we've all have our different COVID stories. But when I look back, it's always a look back at the collective ideas that we've had during the pandemic. Our industry's response to the global pandemic has forever changed the landscape and the cityscape of our country. It has brought out the good in all of us, the humanity in each one of us, as a stakeholder, as a government official. The tourism business is now more vibrant than ever. I have seen how promising tourism business, from the travel and tourism industry, from accommodation, transportation, the food and beverage, retailers, to our tourism workforce, that tourism is indeed a thriving national industry. I can tell that there's so much more that we still need to do to unlock and unleash this low-hanging fruits potential for our country's so-called sunshine industry. And I say this with so much affection, seeing how robust we have all become, booming and thriving. And even if we've been knocked to the ground by COVID-19, we come back harder, smarter, and faster. When our region, the National Capital Region, has become a catch basin of people during the first 2 years of the pandemic, we did what seemed impossible. We mobilized a team of frontliners who respond to the needs and the times and the demands of our distressed local and foreign travelers who've been coming in and departing the country and going to separate places. And we've seen the constant stream of Filipinos working abroad, even during the times of pandemic. We have seen hoteliers working 24/7, round the clock, 365 for those 2 years. #allies. And we have seen and led our airport frontrunners during the most difficult times of the pandemic. Those were the times when no one wanted to be out and be around crowded places. And you know how crowded an airport can be. I remember receiving literally multiple phone inquiries in Viber, in Messenger, phone calls in my personal phone from people I do not even know. From offices that I've never had the chance to interact with, from embassies and consulates that I didn't know existed in Manila, to associations that I didn't think would reach out, they did. And all people who came flocking for help from DOT, and not just DOT NCR, but for the whole DOT, they were given the much needed information and the much needed resolution. So even if it was difficult, even if it was challenging, we all pushed through it together. So looking back again, sweeper and repatriation flights were the only flights then. And I never imagined how many nationalities were in the Philippines. Dami pala talaga. And I remember this one massive repatriation flight to Germany and Austria where I think I filled up Savoy and Belmont and the other hotels in Resorts World because they needed rooms, and it's 400 rooms that we needed to fill up. And they were saying, I can't because it's full already. Our staff cannot handle anymore. But it was one of those nights, sleepless nights that I've seen, and people were just flocking to the airport. And during this global stage of crisis, I've had the distinct opportunity to collaborate with some of our allied industries like the national health agencies manning our overseas Filipino workers, which we never did before. OWA and Marina, the DOT has never had any relationship with them whatsoever. Agencies manning repatriation of overseas Filipinos, management of infectious diseases. We're best friends now with BOQ because of our MUHs. So I'm sure all of you in the hotel industry know this, that BOQ became a buzzword and an everyday, called BOQ. Let's text BOQ. And of course, most importantly, the hotel industry has come much more closer together, became each other's best friend, has learned to share, cooperate, and be each other's best friend. This paved the way to our participative role in overall management of our international gateways. And to be honest, I became a rooms reservations agent for NCR that time because no hotel will accept a guest without my recommendation. In all honesty, I was managing the hotel rooms. Okay, I have 10,000 rooms. Tomorrow we will have an incoming 3,000 flights. Okay, that's 3,000 rooms already lost, and the next one will be opened up by, so you get the drill. So it has been an overnight study in rooms reservation for me. And since day one of the pandemic, DOT, through DOT NCR, has become part of the one-stop shop and the Oplan Kalinga and the One Hospital Command and the One Hotel Command, among other many organized movements that has been produced and are still running up until now. Indeed, I believe that DOT and the hotel industry has been successful in the past 2 years in giving a home to our fellow Filipinos. And while we dream of keeping our people closer to home, not letting them go outside, closer to us, to their family and their friends, we cannot keep them here in as much as we want to. They have to earn for their families. They have their own dreams for their future. We cannot hinder them from finding, as we all like to say, greener pastures. And we can only wish them well and pray for their success. And meanwhile, the challenge for us is to make this steady and fast recovery, make it going, and make it work to our collective advantage. And to keep the momentum going for tourism and to stay on top of the game. So while the tourism industry is looking rosy for the Philippines once more, I'm sure our media friends can attest to this and will agree, it doesn't mean that we are calling it a day. In fact, we must now go at full speed and waste no time. And while our new tourism chief is on the helm, a multi-awarded local chief executive and former Liloan Mayor, Cebu Mayor, Maria Esperanza Cristina Garcia Frasco, we will be decisive in running our country's tourism now more than ever. We will leave no stone unturned. We will continue to discover new tourism destinations, harness the tourism opportunity in each region, tap our talents, and scale tourism to a new height. So the real deal for us is to cascade the benefits of tourism down to the lowest level of the value chain, from the investors to the workforce to the grassroots communities, because tourism should not only benefit a few, it should benefit the whole tourism ecosystem. And the accolades and recognition are just icing on our cake. As Secretary Frasco said, new jobs and business opportunities are the real and tangible result we must all attain for our country and for our people. With all eyes on tourism and many stakeholders like Mega World Resorts and Hotel beginning to invest and never stop investing in the tourism industry, the future of the industry is optimistic and with full confidence. So we could not be more grateful to our partners in the industry. And we always echo what the tourism chief's belief in, that tourism is a shared responsibility. It is a shared governance. And we cannot do it alone in the department, as we have seen in the past pandemic. We're still in the pandemic. Your government needs all of your support to keep the ball in our court. And while we thank you for being a home away from home for our people on this side of the metro, we hope you continue to partner with us in future tourism businesses. To all the industry leaders here from the media, the movers and shakers present here from Savoy and Belmont and the whole Mega World family, we invite you to place your bets once more and be a stake in our tourism industry. There is no better time to pitch your share in nation building as it is now. And I hope this will not be the last Mega World event or launch that I will be invited in. Rest assured that in the years ahead, we will not only steer tourism to a more successful future, but likewise play our part in creating a climate of a home for every Filipino. One that is more conducive for investment and expansion, hint, hint, where everyone can hope and dream big again. And on behalf of my Tourism Secretary, Maria Esperanza Cristina Garcia Frasco, and the whole Department of Tourism National Capital Region, thank you and mabuhay.